I hope this is live. I hope this is working. I don't really know how to start this. I should have been more well thought out. All right. So I've been talking to like a lot of my friends recently just about like what's been going on with me and going on in my life. And a lot of my friends have been like commending me and telling me just how great you've been handling everything, and you've been so positive with your spirit and all of this, which I'm glad to hear that. But at the same time, like, I just want to use this time to actually be open and transparent and vulnerable, not with everyone, but more so for myself. But I feel like this is something I have to get off my chest. So I hope talking about this will be like therapeutic for me. I hope that it's a release. But yeah, I don't expect this to get like a lot of people to watch. I don't expect people's sympathy or pity. That's not really why I'm doing it. I just want to, again, just get it off my chest and be vulnerable finally about this. So I guess I'll start the story with the good part. So back this past July, July 25th of 2019, I got married to my beautiful, beautiful wife. And then we went on honeymoon to the Bahamas. It was my first time outside the country, which is amazing. It was amazing to see just so many Black people everywhere and working in every type of position. And seemed like, the majority of people are Black. And that's just something I've seen, very few times in my life and been in those kind of environments. So that was just a, amazing experience to share that with my wife. And then I started looking forward to, just this life that we're going to have together and spend together. And that's July 25th, when we got married. And then again, shortly after that, we go on that honeymoon. And we come back from the honeymoon. I start a new job, which is just a blessing. And it was an amazing job. I got the opportunity to get my foot in the door of production, which I had been wanting to do and which I had been going to school for and getting my degree in. So I was able to do some camera work and do some directing work, which was amazing. Even at the low level that I was at, I was really doing like community TV. So like those people in the cities would know like SPNN. It was something similar to that because I'm in a small town, so it wasn't actually that. But still, I was doing directing. I was doing camera work, which is something that I wanted to do. And I started that job in August. I started on August 5th. On October 20th of 2019, I turned 30 years old. And on October 29th, I went to visit the optometrist because my left eye had gotten a little blurry. And so I went to just a little local, eyeglasses store and, went in and saw the doctor. And he was very confused because I was telling him that my left eye was kind of blurry and I was having a hard time seeing and hard time reading. And, it just kind of like a haze or a fog was over that eye. But when he, ran all the tests that he could that were applicable, that he had available to him, he really couldn't tell what was going on. He kind of told me that I still had the same prescription that I've had for, since I probably started wearing glasses a long, long time ago. And I wore glasses for most of my life, honestly, as long as I can remember. But I probably started, around 10 years old or so, and then there'd be times in my life when, just financially wise, I didn't wear glasses, but I always needed to wear glasses. But my eyesight wasn't very bad. Like, I could still drive without glasses, and I could still, go to the movies, and I can enjoy life without the glasses. It was just, I was one of those kids who had to sit in the front row if I wasn't wearing my glasses. But that was really the extent of it. I still played sports without glasses, and didn't have a problem. I wasn't someone who wore bifocals or something like that. I was, had fairly decent eyesight considering. So I went and saw him and ran all the tests. He has no idea what's going on. But he had called and called the local hospital and just told them what was going on and got me an appointment about 30 minutes later, which was kind of scary to me because I had never been in a situation where you go directly to the hospital getting something, followed up on. I was the type to, or not the type to, I guess, but in my experience, you go follow up on something that's weeks later, days later, sometimes even a month later, you go check on that because it's not a big deal. But for whatever reason, he found it necessary to send me to the hospital that same day that I went and saw him on October 29th. So just a week and a few days after my 30th birthday. So I go to the hospital, we run a bunch of tests, and they still don't really know what's going on. So what happens is we just schedule a follow-up. Give it a few days, we'll follow up, we'll see what happens. And at this point, I'm not really scared, but because I don't really know what's going on. In my mind, I'm thinking, okay, well, diabetes runs in my family, so maybe I have diabetes, and maybe that's making my vision messed up, or maybe I have, maybe I have a brain tumor or something, crazy like that. But for real, not really scared because my life has not changed. I'm still going to work every day. I'm still driving. I'm still, watching TV and reading subtitles, and I'm able to read. So I'm really not tripping at this point. I'm just more so curious, I'd say, as to like what's going on. But as days goes by, it starts just getting a little bit worse and a little bit worse. So I go back before my actual scheduled follow-up. And I think I made the doctors a little upset with that. But, I go back anyways, and I don't want to go see the ophthalmologist. I go in straight to, like urgent care, and I'm like, I want to know, do I have diabetes? Do I have any kind of diseases or disorders that can make my eyesight blurry that's not related to my eyes? You know what I'm saying? My wife goes with me, and the doctor's like, oh, well, we're going to test you for all this stuff, and we're going to test you for, all these different STDs that could cause this, things like syphilis can cause you to go blind. And I'm like, bet, like, let's test it all. Let's get it all checked out. As they're doing that, they're calling upstairs to the ophthalmology department where they, check your eyes and everything. And they're like, oh, well, this guy's supposed to be back here in like a week. So when you're done with him, just send him right on upstairs and we'll talk to him a little bit further and look into everything. Sorry. And so I go up there, and this is now in November, early in November. And when I go up there, they're still at a point where they're not really sure what's going on. We do some more tests, and they really don't know what could be causing this at all. So they refer me to Mayo Clinic in Rochester. And when I get to Mayo Clinic in Rochester, the doctor's pretty confident already about what it is. So he tells me it could be one of three things. He said it could be a B12 vitamin deficiency. It could be something, I think it was called like scarloid or something. It was just like an inflammation in your chest or your lungs, which puts a strain on your body and your nerves, and that can cause your eyesight to be blurry, or it's just like really, really rare genetic condition. So I'm thinking, okay, I probably just have like a vitamin deficiency. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not the most out of shape person, but at the same time, I'm not a person who eats very well, or at that time I didn't eat very well. I ate a lot of fast food, drank a lot of like soda, stuff like that. And I was like very positive, and especially just the way, growing up, in the church and just having faith. I'm like, oh, okay, like this is going to be something I can easily handle and take care of. Let me go to the grocery store and get some, multivitamins, some gummies, that kind of thing. And I get a lot of different tests done there. I get MRIs and CT scans, and, we're ruling out tumors, we're ruling out all this stuff. And then one at a time, these tests come back and I don't have a vitamin deficiency. I don't have any kind of inflammation within my body that can cause pressure or stress on my nerves that would cause me to have blurry vision. So the doctor says, I think you have this really, really rare genetic condition. But what we're going to do is do some genetic testing, which is really simple. It's just blood work, and we'll see what happens from there. Now, the doctor tells me something that I didn't agree with. He says, do not tell your family. We don't want to freak them out because this is a genetic condition. So that means it's hereditary. It means, your other family members could have this. And you don't want to freak anyone out. So don't tell them. Man, immediately when I left Mayo Clinic that day, which is now towards the middle of November, I called probably all my family. I called a lot of family members I hadn't talked to in a long time, because the way my family's set up, we hear something like that, we're all going to get on the phone. We're going to start praying about this because, I believe in the power of prayer. So I'm calling everyone like, look, this is what the doctor says I could have and what he thinks I have. So we need to pray that we don't have this. And I speak to, a few of my aunts, my great aunts. I talked to my grandfather, just to get like the medical history of our family, and they're telling me, no one's really gone blind in our family. No one's had eye problems, except for when they get really old, they get things like cataracts or glaucoma. So at this point, my eyesight's getting significantly worse. We're in the middle of November, and I have a hard time driving now. I can read, but it's really, really difficult. I'm having to hold papers close to me. I've zoomed in my computer screen at work. So I am getting more worried at that point, absolutely. But still just praying with all my family members. People are calling me and checking up and just praying with me. And I'm being assured that this is, don't worry, in our family, we don't have people that are going blind unless they're, 80 years old and they have glaucoma, they have cataracts, they have something wrong with their actual eyes. So I'm still, very faithful that all right, I'm going to be all right. I'm going to be just fine. So at the beginning of December, I go back to Mayo Clinic and I learned my results, and I learned that I have this really, really rare genetic condition. The genetic test did come back positive, so I learned that I'm gonna go blind, and it's gonna happen really, really quickly. So I'm diagnosed with a condition called, the shorthand is LHON, or it stands for Leber's Hereditary Optic Neuropathy. Which essentially just means your optic nerve just starts to disintegrate essentially from the inside out. So you lose your central vision and you can kind of see out of your peripheral, but there's a haze or a blurriness over your eyes. And that was really tough, man. To hear that, because I was getting a degree in audio and video production. I was 15 credits away, so 1 semester away from getting my degree in that. And like I said, I was in a job where I was actually had my foot in the door. I was doing camera work, I was doing production work. And whenever people talk to me about it, I'd still just try to be super positive and crack jokes. And if you know me, I'm just trying to be lighthearted. So that's what I was doing whenever people would talk to me about it. And I remember one day just breaking down in the shower thinking I can have this time and I can have this moment to kind of just break down. And my wife came in and, heard me crying and consoled me. But I didn't really still know what this means for my life, or what this means for my future going forward. And I go back again the next week back to Mayo, and now we're like a week or so into December. I decided to take a personal leave from work because it was just getting more difficult. As this is going on every day, my eyesight's just a little bit worse and a little bit worse. So I have to take a break to kind of just figure out, like, all right, how do we get this fixed? So when I go back in, I find out like there's not really a treatment or a cure to this. So this is just something I have to live with. And I start to learn things that I don't know. I don't really know how to put it, but I go back and, we do more tests just to see like how far along I've come. And one of the things they do is they take out the little book with the colorblind, numbers in there to see if you can read those numbers. I cannot read any of those numbers for the first time in my life. And I just didn't, that feeling was just so foreign to me. And it just kind of really put it in perspective because I can see, and I mean, I can see now, but everything it's blurry. I can't read. There's a lot I can't do, but at the same time, I never experienced like not being able to have something in front of me and just not being able to see it at all, And that's what happened when they brought out that little colorblind book that she goes through. And what hurt the most is like we had to go all the way to the end of the book. By number 2, number 3, I'm like, I'm not going to be able to see this. I started crying, and the nurses are just like, oh, just, we can take a break, take as long as you want. But we still have to go through this whole book, and like, man, that hurt. Like, that was so painful to try and strain my eyes and try, whatever I can do, and I just could not see those letters. And I learned more about what my diagnosis means, and that like people with this diagnosis are susceptible to like some heart issues. So my doctor was worried I could have like heart arrhythmia or just issues with my heart. And like, thank God, like I get an EKG, I get, I had a chest CAT scan, and nothing's wrong with my heart. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm just so thankful for that. I remember being so thankful and like, calling people and just be like, yeah, nothing's wrong with my heart. We're good. Like, I don't have to worry about those issues. And by December 20th, I was legally blind. So from the time I noticed that blurry eye on October 29th to December 20th, that's all the time it took for me to go legally blind. And I get told like I'll never be able to drive again. That I needed like all these special resources and accommodations now to live my life. And that was hard. And like, the hard thing was like, it was not always like thinking about myself. Like, I feel like this is the time I probably could have been like selfish. I probably could have thought more about myself. But I was like worried about my wife. Like, she just married me in July. Who would have thought a few months later that now this is what we'd be going through in our relationship? And, I've heard the story from other married people, like, once you get married, things happen and like you have obstacles and you have hard times that you got to work through together. But like, man, you never think that it's going to be something like that, something that feels so permanent. And like I say, it feels so permanent because I still have faith, man. Like, I still have faith to this day that regardless of what the doctors say, regardless of what any testing says, I still have faith that one day, like, I will be able to see just as well as I saw before. But you just don't think about something like that happening when you get married. And like, I lived 30 years without having these issues. You know, I grew up playing sports. I played basketball, baseball. You know, I played football. I played whatever you could. So you don't think you live a life that long. There's no one in your family that has this issue. So you just don't think, man, like, this is gonna happen. But man, it happened. And like, my wife has been like super supportive the whole time, and just holding me down, like. And like, I would say, like, I honestly believe God put her in my life, you know, for a reason, because like, I don't know what I'd do if I was alone. You know, like, I have trouble cooking for myself at this point in my life. Like, I have trouble just walking across the street because I can't see if cars are coming. So from going from being an independent person to like needing someone to be there for you, because without them, like, how are you supposed to live? How are you supposed to survive? And I know, like, eventually as I grow with this and I learn about this, that I can be independent again, because of blind people that are out here that can do, you know, anything and everything that people that see can do. And they can get around just fine on their own, and they can cook on their own. They can do everything on their own as I'm learning. But I'm still within 6 months of being diagnosed. And it's real hard, man. So I just wanted to be vulnerable and transparent, because everyone's like, man, you're handling it so well. But like, honestly, at this point where I'm at right now today, just 6 months, just 6 months into this, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do in the future. I don't know what kind of job I'll be able to have. I don't know what this means for me going forward. You know, like, eventually, like, I want to have kids with my wife, and I always thought, like, I'd be the kind of dad who's going to teach my child how to play catch, and, you know, we're going to go for walks and go to the park. Since my battery's dying. Hold on. Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do. And again, I don't say any of this for sympathy or pity or anything like that. Like, it is what it is, you know. Like, it's something I'm going to live with. I'm going to learn how to deal with this. I'm not in a position where I'm just, you know, just so depressed that I've given up or I feel defeated, but I don't know what to do, you know? And I try to, like, talking to people, and it's hard, man, because people will tell you, like, oh, it could be worse, or just have faith, you'll be all right, and all of this stuff. But like, man, like, I don't know, man, because I think I don't want to put it on anybody else, you know? I don't want to say, like, this is the way I was raised, but let me just say, like, this is the way society ingrained in me, which I think obviously was wrong now, but society ingrained in me that a man is supposed to be like a certain thing. So like, I grew up believing like a man's supposed to drive his wife around. I grew up believing like a man's supposed to be like a protector and a provider in certain ways. And it feels I don't know, like it's a vulnerability that I'm not used to be able to have to rely on someone and know that like that's what I have to do. I'm sorry, I don't know if anyone is watching. I don't know if people are leaving comments or not. I can't read them right now without like zooming in really far into the screen. But just know like I just had to get this off my chest, because I felt like up to this point, like I've had to be really, really strong for my family, my friends, just so they can see like I'm good, like I'm handling it, but I don't know what to do. And it's not I guess it's not my place yet to know what to do. You know what I'm saying? So like, I just been praying like one for healing, obviously, because like I am a believer like in the power of prayer, and I believe that like I believe you could pray for anything. So like I said, regardless of what any test or any doctor say, like I'm still every day I'm praying and I'm thanking God for the healing that's upon me. But sorry, somebody was calling me. I'll have to get back to them. But I'm praying for healing. I was praying for I'm praying that like God like opens up a window for me to see like what his will is for me, what his plan is for me. Like if this is the life that I have to live, then like what does that mean for me going forward? And like I don't expect this to be something that happens like quickly. I don't expect it to be this could take years before I like come to a place where I'm like, yeah, I got this. Like, life is all gravy now. Man, it's just I guess that's what I wanted to come on here and just say. I wanted to tell my story. I wanted to finally like be honest about it, that like I'm not okay right now, but I'm gonna be okay, and I'm gonna be just fine. I'm gonna learn how to live with this. But like for the time being and for like right now in this moment, and it's real scary. It's really scary because I feel like my identity is who I am as a person, like who I grew up being, just changed in 2 months. Not even. So I guess I know a lot of people ask like, oh, well, what can I do for you? Like, I guess you could pray for me that I find a way to like find the same amount of joy that I found doing what I loved when I was working the camera, when I was directing videos, when I was directing football games, when I was playing basketball with my friends. I just hope that I find that joy in something else. I know I will, so I shouldn't say it like I hope I do. I know I'm going to. It's just a matter of time. I'm not really a transparent person, like a super vulnerable person. I'm not a person like who's trying to like explore my emotions. So this is like really, really brand new for me, foreign to me. I don't think I've ever gone live, but I just felt like, man, like I gotta get this off my chest, because I had too many, nights where it's hard to sleep because I'm just thinking about like, man, what am I gonna do when this happens? What am I gonna do when I do have a child and I can't see them smile, and I can't see, the faces of my family members. Man, And maybe this helps somebody else, you know? Because I know a lot of men out there feel like you can't be vulnerable. You can't be, um, you can't show too much emotion because, you know, how people will judge you or how people will look at you. But this is something I felt like if I do this, maybe I feel some sort of release. Maybe it's a weight lifted off my shoulders because I've been holding it in for so long and just telling people, oh, I'm fine, I'm straight. But like, this is like the hardest thing I've ever been through, man, in my life. And sometimes it's hard to find the words to express, like, I don't know. It's hard to find the words to just express like that pain and that, like the anxiety, you know? Um, it's funny because like growing up, like I was the guy, like if we were at a party, I don't want to leave because I'm like, all right, I'm looking around, I see the vibe, like, all right, it feels like we need to get out of here, we should leave, you know? Like you could tell something bad's gonna happen. Now, if I walk into a mall, I can't see anyone's facial expressions. And man, that is a bizarre feeling. And it's a bizarre feeling not to be able to know, like, if I need to get up right now and just take a drive, I can't do that. I don't know, man. I'm sorry. I feel like I should have been a lot more, like, well thought out before I came on here, but I just want to express myself, I guess. Be thankful, man. Thankful for my wife. Thankful for my, like, super loving and supportive family. I'll be moving back to the Twin Cities in July, so all my family's been telling me, like, yeah, we're gonna pick you up, like, we'll take you wherever you need to go, like, it's no problem, like, you're not a burden. But like, man, it feels like a burden, you know. um no, thankfully, you know, like I said, man, God is good because I don't have any heart issues that are typically related to this disorder. um It is a genetic disorder that's passed through mitochondrial DNA, so I can't pass it along to, you know, if God willing, if I have children, I can't pass it along to my children. It stops with me. You can only get it from your mother. Um, so I'm thankful, man, that like if I do have a child, like they don't have to have the, you know, take this from me, um, and have that hanging over their head. Um, and low key, like I'm thankful, like it just came out of the blue for me, and like I didn't know like this was in my family. I didn't know, you know, no one else in my family's experienced this, so that just shows you the blessings right there. Um, so I'm thankful that like I didn't have to live a life wondering like, man, when is this gonna happen? What if, you know, what if this happens? I was able to live my life to the fullest that I could. Um, and it's hard to think like, I try not to think like, man, I wish I could go back and like do some things over, because and that's the truth. Like I wish I could go back in time, and I wish I could work harder in school. I wish I could have gotten my degree before this happened, just to say I did it, you know. Um, I wish I could have, um, man, I wish I could have married this woman a lot earlier and a lot sooner, so we could have more trips together, and we could see more sights together and experience things together. Um, so I try to like not think about like what I could have done or what I should have done. But I will tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to keep praying, man, and I'm going to continue to live life to the fullest. And honestly, man, I might end up experiencing so much more that I probably would not have had this not happened to me, because you always think like, man, I got time. You know, you always think, oh, I have time to do this or I have time to do that. But you just never know what's going to happen. So I know a lot of questions that people ask already, so I guess I'll address a couple of those. One thing people ask me is like, what can you see now? Like, I can't see much. If anything's like 10 feet or further away, I probably can't see it at all. I can't even see myself in this camera right now. So I hope I'm in frame. You know, I hope the volume's up. I hope people can hear me. I can't like read books anymore. So it's 2020. You got Audible. Like I'm like, man, this happened to me in the right generation, in the right time. Because imagine this happening to you in like the 60s or the 70s or something. You know what I'm saying? And you don't have Audible books. You don't have, you know, HD tablets that you can zoom in and see stuff, you know, just as well with. So shit, that's a blessing right there, just to be born when I was born, and to experience this when I have to have all of these accommodations and like resources at my fingertips, literally at my fingertips. I can't really see facial expressions anymore, unless I'm like up on it like this, then I might be able to see a little bit. So yeah, I guess that's how I feel. A lot of people ask me how I feel, so that's what I feel. A lot of people ask me what I can see now. That's what I can see. Some people have asked me like, oh, are you gonna get a second opinion? I'm not gonna get a second opinion. The doctor at Mayo Clinic pretty much wrote the book on this very rare genetic disorder. It's a gene mutation, and trust me, like I can't see. There's no need to get a second opinion. I've had the MRIs in my brain. It's not going to be like a tumor or something like that. What else do people ask you? I don't know, man. I guess I can't think of anything else right now. I feel like when I do talk about this, though, there's quite a few questions that people have. Mainly just about like what I can see or like what I can do. So at this moment, it's pretty tough to do a lot of things. And those are things like you really take for granted. Like I can't even clip my own fingernails, man. I can't see my own hands that clearly anymore. So, you know, I have to get help with that. And you really don't think about that. Like you don't think about like cooking chicken. You can't see the inside, whether it's pink or white. Like you don't really think about that. You kind of take those things for granted. I know I for sure did. I was big into video games. I can't really play video games too well now. There's like one or two games out there that kind of I'm playing. Not as good as I used to be, but like I'm kind of just playing, just, you know, trying to relive something I guess I don't have anymore. I can't catch anymore. Me and my wife did a little experiment with the tennis ball just to see if I could catch, and man, when I tell you I took a few tennis balls right to the forehead, that didn't work out well. So I can't catch. I can't play basketball anymore. I can bowl still. I'm a decent bowler still. I went bowling with some friends not too long after I went legally blind, and I can still bowl all right. I'm decent, which is surprising. I can't really see the pins, but if you tell me where the pin is, I can still knock it down. So I could still, if anybody wants to go see me, I'm still knocking down spares and getting a few strikes here and there like it's nothing. So you just got to help me and tell me, you know, it's the 10 pin, it's the 7 pin, and I could still do that. So maybe that'll be my new hobby. Yeah, I don't know what else to tell you, man. But I guess if anyone does hear this or listen to it, like, I just thank you for taking the time. Because this was difficult for me. Like, I've been wanting to do this for a while, but it was hard to think, like, man, I'll have to just put this all out there. But in a way, it kind of, like, feels like now it's more real to have said it out loud, publicly. So yeah, man, I appreciate it. And appreciate all the love and support I got. Like, I know I have a lot of family members on here who just been loving me and supporting me through this, so I appreciate that. And I guess I just want to end this off by just saying, like, again, this isn't for sympathy or for anything.